Hi, this is Abraham Walker with Ask A Walker, your Northern Virginia real estate agent, and this is October 1st, 2018. This is my weekly accountability session for What If Gary Keller Was My Coach. Last week's session was about a 32-minute video. That's way too long. My goal is to have this video last 8 minutes starting right now. All right, there we go. 8 minutes. Okay, so that's the timer. Let's get into it. First, before we start, I want to thank John Gillis. He is in the Fayetteville, North Carolina market. He watches the videos and he sent me a thank you card and some snacks. So really appreciate you watching, John, and I hope you have a great year. Okay, so let's get into our little learning moment or our teachable moment. Then we'll get into our stats or our goals and actuals for this week. Right now, I'm reading the Shift book, right? And we are in pages. Last week's session, last week's goal was to read pages 34 to 84. We accomplished that goal. And so I just want to read a little excerpt from the book. It's a great book. I recommend you picking it up. It says, time on the task over time will serve you well in mastering your approaches, but be careful that your behavioral style doesn't betray you. Most real estate agents fall into two broad behavioral types: those who like to take action first and those who like to study first. So the doer must also be the student, and the student must also be the doer. Experience says that in an ongoing cycle of study and practice, take action, study and practice, take action is the best approach. Don't be a slave to your preferred behavioral style. Great takeaway in the book. That was located on page 68. What I took away from that was I'm a bit of an analytical individual myself. I can be aggressive, and I also like to calculate things on a regular basis. That's why you see me in these videos talk about numbers. And just to be honest with you, this little segment right here hit home for me because I want to make sure that I am constantly thinking about ways to take action, studying those approaches, and then taking action, and then revising that action over time. So great takeaway, page 68 in the Shift book. Another thing I want to share with you is in the Shift book. Let's see right here. Okay, so in the Shift book, there's let's see. Okay, there we go. So there's this process that we're incorporating ourselves into our business model, and they mention it in the Shift book. It talks about you capturing information, you're connecting with individuals, you're closing for an appointment. Most individuals, when they're making phone calls, they believe that this is how it happens all the time, and this is just not the case. This is not the case. This is the ideal scenario. This is the Cinderella story. This is the make-believe portion of how to generate or create a real estate business. This is just not how it happens. What you have to do is you have to cultivate the individuals that you speak to on a regular basis. This is another reason why they say the money is in the follow-up. So follow-up has to be a part of your strategy, right? So capture, connect, close for appointment, cultivate, right? Cultivate is a big portion. That's why I made sure that it covers the length of this little board here. All right, so now we're going into our weekly accountability sheet. You can pick up this weekly accountability sheet on my website. This bar right here below my name should show where you find it. And so this is a free download that you can go to on the website, pick it up. We have a few areas that we're going to cover in this video. We have activities and results, wins for the week, areas to improve, as a CEO of you, how would you rate yourself, next week's plan, weekly takeaways, and what would Gary Keller say? Okay, so what was our goal for this week? Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to go through the individual numbers. We only have 3 minutes left. Okay, so for contacts, our goal was 127. Our goal was 160 contacts for last week. The actuals was 127, the monthly totals. That's not right. It's not 400. It's short of 400. So what is that? 30. So I guess it's about 370. So we had 370 contacts in this past month. The number of people added to our database, the goal was 56 for last week. We added 84 people to the database. That means our monthly total for September was 228. The thank you note sent goal was 200, 200 for the month. Our actuals for the month was 230. The goal for Pat last week, thank you notes, the goal was 54. We exceeded that goal by 84. We exceeded that goal. Our actuals was 84. So in both thank you notes sent and added to database for the month of September, we exceeded our goal, which is great. Homes previewed, the goal was 10 homes previewed last week. We previewed 11 homes. The total for the month was 44. We had no seller listed appointments, no seller listings taken, no buyer appointments, and no buyer listings taken last week. We accomplished our reading our shift book, which is page 34 to 84 this past week. And so that means that we'll move to an 85 to 135 for this coming week. Lead generation 3612-3, session 1. That was the goal for this week, to knock out this manual here, and we accomplished that. Okay, so wins for the week. We created a new opportunity with social media, completed half of our reading and activity goals by Thursday. If you remember last week, our goal was to complete most of our activities by the middle of the week, or half of our activities. C, areas to improve, incorporating script into my call about value. There is a script that was shared in one of the training materials that I have at my house for Keller Williams, and so using that training material in my scripts is what I'm working on this week for this objection that I receive on a regular basis, just about why are you providing value, like why you keep on being so nice, friendly. There must be something that you're doing this for, and so there's a script for that. Number 2 is hit updated lead generation goals, and we'll talk about what the updated lead generation goals are in section E. And number 3 is call to action and email newsletter. We have people that we meet on a regular basis that either from open houses, casual acquaintances, and we capture their information, and then we have an email newsletter that's sent out twice a month. Well, on Sunday, my wife had dinner with someone who brought a friend over with them to dinner, so it was 4 people, my wife and one of our past clients, and then one of her friends who just so happened to have met us at one of our open houses maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. Well, that individual just purchased a condo at the beginning of the year, and they also receive our email newsletter. So they are conscious and aware of that, the fact that we are in real estate. It's just that we haven't had call to actions or a purpose or a focus on call to actions in our email newsletters. So this is a good wake-up call. Hopefully this wakes you up as well. Okay, so as a CEO of you, how would you rate yourself? I rate myself as a 3. I think we had a nice pace for the week, and also I still need to improve on exceeding my activity goals. We did not meet one of our activity goals, which was contacts, and I know that with the contacts that we're making, which are just cold contacts, that we could, there are leads to be, there are right now business that can be had from these types of phone calls. Okay, so what's next week's plan? Next week's plan is for 12 hours of cold calls to through our zip codes, 1 hour of follow-up per day through our database, and then also to create 1 video for our website on a daily basis, and and also to work on getting out our thank you cards on the next business day, right? So right now I batch process our thank you cards instead of doing them all at one time, just because we have some processing that we do with the database after I make the phone call. So there's a lag between the time I make a phone call and the time the person receives a thank you card. So The goal now is to actually get that thank you card out the very next business day, which would mean that our 8x8 system would move just a little bit quicker, and I think that we'll be able to solidify us as a brand, as a company in that individual. Just to let you know, I just noticed that I am over on time. I still want to get through the rest of these segments, so I apologize. Okay, so what are our weekly takeaways? Your behavior style can get the best of you, which is what I read in the shift book. My script is an indirect offer. So what am my script for when I'm calling through zip codes is more like a home valuation call, asking individuals are they interested in getting their home valuation. If they're not interested in getting their home valuation, we still maintain some type of contact with them. The third takeaway for the week is there are 3 areas of lead generation. This is also in the shift book. The first area is prepare, the second area is take action, and the third area is maintain. So you're doing all those items in your 3-hour lead generation block. So that's good to know because my lead generation blocks are really just all lead generation as far as take action. So it's all number 2. And reading this material and shift helps me to see that I need to be more purposeful about my preparing and also my maintaining part of the lead generation process. The fourth takeaway for the week is that there's only 4 things that you need to time block, which is also located in the shift book, which is the 4 things are, the first thing is vacations with time off. Number 2 is lead generation daily, your 3-hour blocks of lead generation. Number 3 is 1 hour per week of planning your week. So at the beginning of the week, you time block 1 hour to plan for the rest of your week. Number 4, the fourth thing is if you have other people reporting to you, you want to work with them on their goals and aspirations and how they could meet the company standards. Right? Okay, so what would Gary Keller say about this past week? I think that he would be a little concerned based on our number of appointments and number of listings taken. I know that we're going into the fourth quarter. I mean, essentially, October 1st is the beginning of the fourth quarter, and so listing inventory does dip slightly on an overall market, and there is still an opportunity to be had in this season. There's still going to be sales. They're going to take place. It's just asking yourself the question, or asking myself the question, how will I get those sales? How will I take those listings? How will I represent those buyer clients? So going through our database, either past leads or past individuals who shared some type of interest about doing some type of real estate activity is going to be important for us over the next couple weeks. And I think that's what he would say. I think that he would say, it's great that you're generating some new activity, or you're constantly feeding your database. So now it's just time to make sure you don't lose sight on maintaining your database and also nurturing or cultivating those relationships inside that database. Well, that's it for me. My name is Abraham Walker with Ask A Walker, your Northern Virginia real estate agent. I appreciate everyone who has watched this video or watched this series. I just want to end on what the goal is, right? So the goal is very simple for the month. The goal is 400 contacts for the month, 200 people added to your database, 200 thank you cards sent, and 40 homes previewed. It's a very simple process. You're essentially just watching me implement that process, and using these videos as accountability sessions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I've also set up a frequently asked questions section for this process, or for this series on my website. The link is located in the description. And that's it. I hope you have a great start to your fourth quarter, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.